Some children become invisible, others become unforgettable. One disappears into silence, the other fills the room with energy. One survives by avoiding attention, the other survives by controlling it. From the outside, they appear completely different. But beneath those differences, they are often carrying the same wound. Welcome to episode 4. Today we're talking about the lost child and the performer. Two survival roles born from the same dysfunctional system, yet shaped by opposite strategies. Let's begin with the lost child. The lost child is rarely the center of attention. In many families, they are barely noticed at all. They learn very early that visibility feels dangerous, conflict feels dangerous, neediness feels dangerous, expression feels dangerous. So instead of fighting for space, they disappear from it. They become quiet, independent, emotionally self-contained. They spend time alone. They retreat into books, games, music, daydreaming, online worlds, fantasy. Not because they are naturally disconnected from people, but because isolation feels safer than rejection. They may struggle with emotional connection, vulnerability, asking for help, expressing anger, trusting relationships, not because they lack emotions, but because they learned their emotions had nowhere safe to go. Over time, the lost child often develops a painful belief. If nobody notices me, maybe I don't matter. And that belief can quietly shape an entire life. Now let's look at the performer. At first glance, the performer appears completely different. They're expressive, funny, charismatic, energetic. They know how to make people laugh, how to shift the mood, how to ease tension in the room. In many dysfunctional systems, the performer becomes the emotional pressure valve for the family. When things become heavy, they create relief. When conflict rises, they distract. When emotions become overwhelming, they redirect attention. Everyone loves the performer, but very few people ask an important question. Who is making sure the performer is okay? Because behind the humor, behind the charm, behind the exaggerated positivity, there is often a child who learns something heartbreaking. If I can make everyone else feel better, maybe the pain won't reach me. The performer survives by becoming emotionally useful, by entertaining, by managing atmospheres, by keeping others comfortable, and over time, they may begin to fear stillness, silence, authenticity. Because performance became protection, many performers struggle privately with anxiety, emotional exhaustion, loneliness, identity, confusion, depression hidden beneath charisma. People assume they are happy because they appear joyful, but appearing joyful and feeling safe are not the same thing. And perhaps the most painful part is that many performers do not know where the performance ends and the real self begins. Now notice something important. The lost child hides by disappearing. The performer hides by becoming unforgettable. One avoids attention, one controls attention, one becomes invisible, one becomes entertaining, different strategies, same goal, safety. Both children learned that authenticity felt risky inside the system, so both adapted, just differently. And this is important to understand. Neither role is weakness, neither role is failure. Both are intelligent survival responses created by children trying to navigate emotional instability. Children do not create these strategies because they are broken. They create them because they are trying to survive environments that feel emotionally unsafe. But survival strategies developed in childhood can become limitations in adulthood. The lost child may struggle to fully participate in relationships. The performer may struggle to stop performing long enough to feel genuinely seen. And eventually, both roles arrive at the same question. Who am I when I no longer need these strategies to survive? For the lost child, healing may begin with visibility, learning that their voice matters, that their needs matter, that they deserve space. For the performer, healing may begin with stillness, learning they are valuable even when they are not entertaining anyone, even when they are not managing the emotional atmosphere of the room, even when they are simply themselves. Because neither child was ever meant to spend their life hiding, one behind silence, the other behind performance, and perhaps that is the deeper truth beneath both roles. The desire was never invisibility. The desire was safety. The performance was never the identity. The silence was never the identity. The role was the adaptation, not the self. And healing begins when the adaptation is no longer mistaken for identity. Before you go, I want you to think about something. When you were hurting, did people overlook you because you were quiet, or did they overlook you because you learned how to keep smiling? Sometimes the people who disappear emotionally are suffering in silence, and sometimes the people making everyone laugh are suffering just as deeply. Next time, we're talking about the adults who keep the system alive, the enabler, the system keeper, and the narcissist. Because dysfunctional systems do not sustain themselves accidentally. They survive because someone protects them. Join me for episode 5 as we uncover how dysfunctional systems maintain power, silence, and control across generations. Until then, remember this: you were never meant to hide in order to deserve love. You were never meant to disappear so other people could feel comfortable. You were never meant to silence your needs, shrink your presence, or abandon parts of yourself just to feel accepted. And you were never meant to perform happiness, manage everyone's emotions, or become emotionally useful in order to feel worthy of care. Real love does not require you to erase yourself. Real love does not require constant performance. Real love does not punish authenticity. Because the truth is, many people learned very early that safety depended on adaptation. Some adapted through silence. Some adapted through humor. Some adapted through perfection. Some adapted through carrying blame. But adaptation is not identity. Survival is not the same thing as selfhood. And healing often begins when a person realizes, I no longer have to become someone else just to deserve connection. You deserve love before the performance, before the silence, before the role, before the survival strategy. And you still deserve it now. I'm Dr. Christina Christopher Laster. And this is Wise Society. I'll see you in the next episode.